Hi there, it's Nick Dutch, back on the camera again for yet another delightful tarot reading. Okay, we've got a YouTube inquirer whose channel name is Astrology for Me, and she's inquiring about a friend of hers called Emerald and wants to know whether she and Emerald will ever get back together again. Now, this is quite a common question, but the results of the readings can be very diverse or complex. So we'll just have a quick look. All I can do is to carry the message to you, alright? Now, readings of this type, they can point out issues to do with like the way that you're seeing the world, attitudes going on, the forces between you, and all kinds of other things happening, okay? So let's just have a quick look and see what the reading says. Just a moment, please. Okay, now what I've done is I've laid out a very traditional, very typical tarot spread for a relationship situation, just to try and answer your question. We've got some interesting signs here, so we'll just have a quick look at them and take it all one step at a time, okay? Okay, here we go. This is of course my typical, traditional Nick Dutch relationship reading, okay? This is your side of the reading. This is Emerald's side of the reading. This is what we call the forces between you, and this is the progression, short-term, mid-term and long-term, moving on into the future, okay? So let's start with Emerald's side of the reading. Interesting sense of there being the desire for communication, yes, but we're also talking about an individual who's showing signs of fear. Why do I feel there's signs of fear? Because you've got signs of defensiveness there, a sense of wanting to try and make sure that everything goes Emerald's way, trying to keep on top of things, okay? There is a feeling that there may be some distraction associated with what Emerald is going through, finding it difficult to focus on the relationship itself, and finding it difficult to actually be open and philosophical and thoughtful with reference to the full, longer term, bigger picture. But we do have a sense of there being communication. It feels as though things have been left in a rather neutral state, a state of not quite knowing where things should be going, whether things should be going further forward. Bit of a feeling of stagnation as well. Now the signs here I call the forces between you, and that symbolises the energy bond there, or maybe other factors affecting things. It's interesting that we do have other female energies there and there, suggesting the possibility there may be another woman involved somehow. That's only a possibility or a suggestion. I can't stick my neck on the block and say for sure whether I feel that there is somebody else involved in this connection. But there's another message here, and that is that of love. There is a feeling of loving energy. It is a cup sign. It is a feeling of the watery, very much to do with, you know, the soul connection, and something of the sensitivity going both ways. So I actually feel quite good about that there is some kind of foundation between you. But that's just on the emotional level. That, at this stage, does not properly answer your question as to whether you're going to get back together again. But the desire for communication that we had here is actually looking quite positive and showing potential, okay? So we've got to try and see that in perspective. Now, on your side of the reading, incredibly strong signs of a loving connection associated with this individual who you identify as Emerald. And also a sense of a desire for stability. I feel that you were the stability in the relationship, and Emerald was a bit of a wild card, so to speak, showing signs of a need to defend themselves. Whereas you, on the other hand, you know, you're much more with the world, much more solid, much more stable. You know who you are, okay? I don't feel that Emerald actually has that luxury. You seem to be someone who thinks about the practical and the down-to-earth, and has got a very realistic understanding of life. But whereas some of the signs on Emerald's side of the reading could actually be interpreted as being a bit sort of head in the cloudsy, okay? Air signs are good. They do talk about communication. They also talk about contemplation as well, and maybe even thinking too much or too fast. So maybe Emerald's got a few other issues which Emerald is still dealing with, as far as your relationship is concerned there. Okay, but we still have the love signs between you, so there is still some potential there, despite the fact there is a character clash between the stability on your side of things and this sort of like head in the clouds, far too intellectual, thinking far too much, and also defensive and possibly even resentful. Okay, so that's just the way that things are standing at the moment according to the reading. Bear in mind, I'm seeing these signs of love in the forces between you, so don't worry too much, okay? Now, short-term, mid-term and long-term. Now, each one of these sections deals with approximately 3 months worth of time. Okay, now if your question was, is he going to come back tomorrow night? The bottom line is I would not answer that question. If there were very strong signs within the short-term future and my impressions were it could happen sooner, then I'd tell you, okay? In this particular case, whoops, just mucked up the spread there, but never mind. In this particular case, there's a sense of some wisdom coming through. The Hierophant card speaks about many different things, including the revelation of extra wisdom about a situation. Also those of communication of a calmer nature. Now, for it to be a calm nature, bearing in mind that Emerald is rather resentful, as we've already seen, and is thinking too much, a bit of a change of perspective has got to occur, which you would have to see as being a subtle change. Yes, communication is going to happen within 3 months of today's date, I feel. It could be sooner, but I'm not sticking my neck on the block about that one either. But there is some potential there. Naturally, once communication has come, you will need to use that to the best of your ability to get the results that you're after. Now, moving on further on down the line, this is where things start to get a bit more interesting. Why would we have signs of a miraculous change and a bit more meticulous planning, okay? Thinking much more about how to make a result occur. I feel that during this short-term future period of anything up to 3 months from now, there's going to be the opportunity to overcome the obstacles which are holding you back. Now, the obstacles are the character difference between yourself and Emerald's. The benefits are the loving connection you've currently got. There are other obstacles there as well, which I've already gone into, or potential obstacles. It might not be another woman, it might be something else to do with a situation to do with Emerald's past. So don't worry about that too much. At this present point in time, the presence there is actually going to move on quite nicely, because the opportunity is going to come, then there's going to be the planning, then there's going to be the change. So in this particular case, it feels very interesting indeed. Okay, so we've had a quick look at the reading. We've seen some of the signs and energies going on. It appears to me to be quite a complex dynamic, quite a complex situation. Not a relationship connection which can be resolved overnight. It appears that when the conflict time comes, there will be possibly a few home truths, possibly a few exaggerations, possibly a few hurtful things said, but that will then calm down quite nicely. Alright, and you'll start to get that that sense of wisdom, that sense of calm, philosophical attitude appearing for you. Alright, it might not be quite that stormy, it might just go straight on to the calm time straight away. And once that's happened and a few other things are put into their own little pigeonholes, into their own little boxes, then you've got the opportunity to actually feel good about the longer term future. Because, as I say, I'm seeing signs of planning and thought and an attempt to put activity in place to try and bring about a result. And finally, the Prince of Wands card. That's often associated with the Archangel Michael. It did come out reversed in the reading, but that shouldn't be seen as being a negative thing. It just talks about slow and steady progress. The best relationships in the whole wide world do have their conflicts. The best relationships in the whole wide world do take a long time to develop. You don't know whether you truly know someone for many, many months of having been together in a stable connection. And that's something you've got to bear in mind too. Generally speaking, in answer to your question, the potential is out there. But readings talk about potential. They don't talk about things which are hard and fast and concrete. And there will have to be a lot of activity done, both on your side of things and on Emerald's side of things, in order to try and bring about the result that you're after. Okay? I personally feel that the result could well be there. And we've had some very optimistic signs, even taking into account the fact that the situation in the here and now is complex and difficult. So I do feel for you in this particular situation. It appears you've got a very strong connection with this individual. You feel it possibly even when they're not around, and it's difficult. Now, obviously, if things don't work out according to plan, you don't get the communication that you're after, do be open towards someone new anyway, because the promise of future love is there as well. Don't make up your mind immediately after speaking to a reader or seeing a reading video, because all we can do is put a few pointers your way. The final decision always rests in your hands, not in mine, and not in the hands of the man upstairs. Okay? Alright, I bid you good fortune, God and or Goddess, and or none of the above bless. Don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe, favourite and share, and I will look forward to speaking to you again very soon indeed. Bye for now.